I'm Nate Cokernow. Welcome to my channel. So today, as I continue to roll through the different functions in the MBTI system, I have arrived at the last of the decision-making functions, the thinking functions. There's one thinking function that values being effective, that is extroverted thinking, and there's one thinking function that values being clear and accurate and rational, and that would be TI, the introverted thinking or the accuracy function. But today we're going to talk about TE, and TE effectiveness is the last function in my car. This would be the 3-year-old for me, and so my relationship with it is complicated and not very healthy, to be honest. That is sort of the irony that is embedded in MBTI, is that the things that you're not good at them because they really are the opposite. They're polar opposites of the things that you are good at. And understanding that you can't be just naturally gifted at things that your orientation doesn't preset you to be naturally gifted at, I think is a leg up in getting to the place that we want to get with these functions, which is being easy on ourselves about it, that we're not good at them. We could really start to sink into deep feelings of unworthiness if we are focused too much on these backseat functions and how we're not really meeting expectations in them. We're not ever going to meet expectations with these functions, and that's got to be okay. So extroverted thinkers, they are the folks who really keep the trains running, so to speak. They keep the systems going. They understand power and how to be in control of it. I guess these are all things that, for me, even just saying them out loud make me feel kind of uncomfortable, because power is not something I have an easy relationship with. Like, do I want to have power over people? I'm not so sure. As somebody who really values authenticity, I don't want to manipulate. I don't want to extend my will into other people's arenas and assert it. My authenticity gets in the way of my effectiveness. And I know that, and it still sucks to be completely ineffective all the time. I do get to have the peace of mind from being authentic, but I don't get the successes that other people who have the effectiveness function in place of the authenticity function get. So the other thing that I learned from listening to Joel and Antonio's podcast about the TEs, the people who assert this effectiveness function, is that they're really used to not getting much validation or affirmation for the work they do. And that is because, for one, as human beings, we tend to be a little bit more oriented towards seeing the problems than we are towards seeing things that are working right and just feeling gratitude. And that is kind of what the effectiveness thinkers have to fight against with society, is that when the trains are running smoothly, nobody's talking about it. As soon as there's a glitch, then everybody's complaining. So the high level effectiveness people in our world are doing a great job and nobody's noticing. And that's kind of the burden that they have to carry. If you are an ENTJ or an ESTJ, then you have the effectiveness function in your first chair, which means that you pretty much do it with ease and grace, and you don't even probably focus too much on the fact that you're doing it, because it is your nature function. It's not a nurture function. It's just like your water if you were a fish to be effective. You don't have to put a lot of effort or focus on it. It just happens. If you're an INTJ or an ISTJ, then you have the effectiveness function in your co-pilot. And this means that you really want to try to understand your unique version of effectiveness and lean into it, demonstrate it to the world, show it off so that it can rub off on other people, and they can join you in your effectiveness. You want to teach through demonstration. If you're an ENFP or an ESFP, then you have the effectiveness function in your third or your 10-year-old seat in your chair, which means that when it does turn on for you, you won't really feel confident about it until somebody else tells you that you did a good job with it. So it's not like confidence is completely unavailable to people with the 10-year-old function. It's just that they themselves cannot produce confidence on their own. They need other people to tell them they did a good job. And then if you're an INFP like myself or an ISFP, then you have the effectiveness function in your 3-year-old chair in the car. And that can lead to some pretty bad scenes. The memory I have that I always share about effectiveness was when I took my daughter when she was 16 to the DMV for her driver's lesson. And first thing I found out there was that they schedule 3 sessions for the same time, even though they only have one driver. Now me, somebody who is a feeler and very focused on values, I got immediately upset at the absurdity of their scheduling system. I figured if they're going to run 3 people through their driving tests an hour, why not tell one person to show up at 1 o'clock, person B to show up at 1:20, person C to show up at 1:40, because there's only one person to join them in all the cars. They can't be in 3 cars at once. So why not stagger the appointments? I kind of had a row with them in the office over that. Nevertheless, that's how it worked. That's how the system worked, and I wasn't going to get my way that day. So 2.5 hours later, then they finally told me it was our turn for the car, or to do the driver's test. And then they informed us that the car that we'd brought for the driver's test was not an adequate car. It was a mistake that we'd made, thinking that we could use the driving instructor's car, which was an automatic, instead of mine, which was a manual. But the problem was that it had brakes in the passenger seat, and they said that disqualified it as a car that you could take your driver's test on. So what did I do as a person who has effectiveness in the 4th seat of their car? I started to rail at them again about their scheduling, which had nothing to do with the problem that we were now facing in this moment. But because I was so set on my values being right, and persuading them that my values were right and theirs were wrong, that their system is messed up, I basically just had a tantrum, caused a huge scene, really embarrassed my daughter, and did not achieve the outcome in any way, shape, or form that I had desired. So that's my favorite story of my own personal kind of struggles with effectiveness function. For the people who it does work for very well, please leave a comment below and help me understand your relationship with it, because these functions that they're in your backseat of your car, it's very hard to look at them neutrally and see the holiness in them as somebody who really struggles with them. But I know intellectually that they are every bit as holy, that they're every bit as needed in terms of like the salvation of the world at large. We need all of these types. And so I'd love to hear from people who have these types in a strong position and hear how they relate to it, because that's going to be more the holy version of it than what I've got to tell you today about effectiveness. Okay, that does it for now. Thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful day full of miracles and blessings, and I will see you again next time. Bye for now.